brilliant.
Welcome to Pocket Watch Podcast. I'm Zach.
Cruz.
Jake.
Brooklish, what up, boy?
Hey. I know y'all heard the switch up. We got another guest up in the building today.
Yes, sir. We got Brooklish from Brooklyn, New York. Rapper, artist, creator. It's a privilege to have him on. I've been following him for a while. Got to give him a follow on TikTok, Instagram. Obviously, we're going to put everything in the link or whatever.
Description below, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very good follow. Great music, everything, man. We're going to get into it. I love it, bro. What
up?
It's Mr. Brooklish. What's up, bro?
What's good, y'all? Chilling. First of all, Zach funny as hell because he was talking mad regular, and then the podcast cops on. Yo, this is the podcast. I was like, hey, this is hell, bro. This is elite, bro.
That's the behind the scene. He went into he's like the director mode whenever, you know what I mean? He's like the soundboard guy. As soon as he presses record, it's like that's it. Like,
yeah,
welcome to Pocket Watch.
Hell yeah.
He was like, hey man, we're getting ready to record. Are you good?
That's funny as fuck.
Yo, he called you out.
I put my low voice on.
Nah. Ladies love it though. Sexy,
There you go, man.
Yes,
you got
sir.
it.
Ladies love it, bro. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Brooklish is on, bro. Thanks again. Wherever you're watching, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, whatever. Great content coming, more shit coming. We got my man Brooklish on right now. Come on, you already know. Come on, man. We're gonna get into this new EP. Yeah. We're gonna get into all the shit he's got going on.
And shit, by the time that they're hearing this episode, we probably have the shirts out. We've been working on the shirts today. We'll have them done here soon for you guys. So stay tuned for that, guys.
Yeah.
There you go. We got you, man. We got
After
you.
After this episode, we're gonna get all that going on, bro. That's another thing too. You got a website, right?
Yeah. So my website is BrooklynEnglishBakery.com. Brooklyn English
Bakery. Yeah, there we go.
And break down why is it bakery? Where does that come from?
So essentially, it's just this thing that kind of unraveled and became its own thing. So I have this song called Sweet Potatoes that was supposed to be released at Thanksgiving. And so we try to really do creative rollouts with limited budgets, you know what I'm saying? Me and my team at Ravens and Robins. And so we, had a song about, the innuendos of sweet potatoes and how, women got that sweet thing down there. So, we talked about that for a minute, and then we was like, yo, we should make shirts because we wanted to have some we call it tangible, something that's like you can actually have and feel in the streaming era that will go with all of our releases.
Yeah.
So we created this character called Auntie B, who would sell the best sweet potato pies in all of America. And so my boy was like, well, we should put it on the website. And I was like, it would probably be better if it was coming from a bakery. That would be dope, right?
Yeah.
And so he was like, all right, cool. So I bought the domain quick, fast, and I just called it because, for those who don't know, my name is Brooklish, but that's short for Brooklyn English. And we can get into that later. But we just called it the Brooklyn English Bakery. And then we just all of a sudden we had like a backstory for who Auntie B was, and then we had shirts, and then people like we made like I think 70 shirts, and them joints sold out in like 2 weeks.
Hell yeah!
Like damn. So then
it was a movement, bro. That shit was dope.
Yeah.
You guys rolled it out very nice. Like you did like a whole shoot, like a whole rollout type thing, then dropped it. It was dope, bro.
Yeah. We tried to be consistent with that, but it's difficult. But yeah, I was really surprised and happy for the support for those. Like and with that one, we wanted to do something really, really special. So we actually hold on, I think I have. So we created
the packaging is fire
packaging.
too. Yeah.
So like an old parchment package.
Yeah.
And when you get it inside, the T-shirt is in there, and it has like the insert and all that stuff, and some stickers and stuff like that. So but I was hand delivering them since this was our first project. So I would really go around anytime somebody had an order that was in the tri-state. I would literally drive to their crib, give it to them. Dope. But it was a really dope experience because I was able to kind of have so many meaningful conversations with people that I never met before, and that was just really dope. So then then now all of a sudden we started making hoodies. And we still have a couple of hoodies left because by the time we try to make quality, right? So I'm not just saying this because
clothes are hard.
Clothes are hard. But like the hoodie that we made, like I don't even have one on me right now because I had to give my aunt one. But it's probably one of my favorite hoodies because we tried to make sure it was a good, high quality. So if anybody still wants to, we out there, brooklynwings.bakery.com. You can definitely go grab a hoodie. But yeah, so we got some shirts coming out probably in a month or two. But we just trying to make it work, man. So now it's his own separate thing. The bakery lives on beyond the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. That's dope. So what was, is it, it's not the, it's the production company. What is it called?
So Ravens and Robins is funny story. So so I worked at a fruit stand. We'll just say it like that. I'll tell you where I really work offline. But I've been working there for about 8 years, and I met my boy. His name is Justin. He's an amazing producer. He engineered for Heavy D. God bless the dead. He worked with Diddy for a long period of time as an engineer. And we ended up, he's from Trinidad, so we ended up linking up at work. And it's crazy because he had a work visa that was fucking up. And so we wasn't really close like that until I found out that he might get deported. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, what's going on? Like, do you need any help? And he was like, oh, you're just trying to figure things out. But he got things figured out on the side. But then he pulled me to the side and he was like, yo, thank you just for being supportive and just trying to help me out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like X, Y, Z. And then I don't know how it happened, but he discovered that I rap, and then I discovered that he made beats and he was an amazing DJ. And so he was just like, yo, pull up. And then went to his crib and first he sent me some beats. And I was like, oh, this is kind of ill. So, how I operate is I'll like use a voice memo. Like I love voice memos. So I'll just throw it in my phone and I'll just be freestyling on a voice memo, trying to find the right feeling for it. And I send it to him. But I was like singing and just making some shit up. And so he sent me a beat, and then I sent him the voice memo, but then when I sat and wrote, and when I tell you I thought this was the best shit that I ever wrote in my life, I was like, oh, this metaphors, I'm about to kill a game with this. Oh, it's hard. And I got to the studio and I laid it down, and he was like, oh, okay. I'm like, what you mean, bro? This is like, you know what I'm saying? This is like, you don't get it because I'm really like, I'm talking about America. And he was like, nah, you can rap. I know that. I hear you, but I don't feel like do what you did in the voice memo.
Yeah.
And I was like, the voice memo, what? Like when I was singing, he was like, yeah, go do that. And so I was like, all right. So then I listened to the voice memo, and I actually wrote the song in about an hour, and I laid it down. And that was the first song we ever recorded, and it was a song called Ravens. And so we was like, damn, we started to dive into this idea of it actually being a full-fledged project called Ravens, where it would just be about like kind of the dark aspects of what it's like to grow up as a black man in America. And it had this like really dope undertones. But then the more we started to get into it, it just felt real heavy. And I was like, I'm not always like this. I'm not like depressed. So then we ended up thinking about like, what if we make 2 albums at the same time? What if we make Ravens and then we make, what would be the opposite of that? And I was like, I don't know, like a Robin or something like that. And so it's like, oh, okay, cool. So it was like one album is like the underside, and the other side is the lighter tone, where it would just be like party music. So we had Ravens and we had Robins as this idea, and we started to flesh it out. But then we started to make more songs, started to collaborate with other artists. He knows so many artists. I know a couple of artists. And then we kind of grew into this team. And what happened was we wanted to try to make everything independent, right? So we created an LLC so we can have our own like label. That was the intention of it. But then we didn't want to use CD Baby. We didn't want to use like DistroKid. I was like, yo, how can I really like own
what are those things for people that don't know?
Oh, good. So CD Baby or DistroKid are these distribution platforms, right? So you can create a record, and you can get it mixed, you can get it mastered, and all of those things. Now you have the record done, but in order to get it on some of these digital streaming platforms, somebody has to distribute it. Back in the day, you used to have to go to a record label because they would physically press up all your records and singles now. But now, because the world has evolved, you still need someplace to kind of put those things out. So CD Baby and DistroKid, TuneCore are all really great resources because they allow you to keep almost 100%, if not 100% of all your royalties.
I wonder if like what we use, because like same, right? Like we have to use like RSS feed or
RSS feed, yeah.
So,
just to get that in like or podcasts for like Apple Podcasts and stuff like that, or Spotify.
Yeah. So I wonder if you guys have to, like art, like music artists, you guys have to use something different, or is it like higher competition? Is it harder to like catch the feed?
So the thing about it is 3 years ago, every single day on Spotify alone, 60,000 songs get put up
Yeah.
every day. Now today it's closer to 100,000 songs.
Yeah.
So the competition is crazy, right? If you don't have a lot of money, if you don't have a lot of time, or you don't have a lot of skill to market things, it's really like kind of like just throwing a bottle of water in the ocean. It's like maybe somebody will get it, but like, what's the chances of that? It's really difficult.
Word.
So with us, I tried to kind of think outside the box and try to separate myself from that. So my boy, his name is Terry. He's super genius. He's actually he works with WizKid, and he's WizKid's DJ Tunes, an amazing Afrobeats DJ. He's his manager, and so he created his own platform called BT Group, where we kind of circumnavigate having to go through a TuneCore or anything like that. I just go straight to his platform for my distribution. So we own everything, we mix everything, we master everything, and then I bring it to my man's, and he puts it out on all of these streaming platforms. There's still some things that we kind of have to, work through and figure out, because it's really, really independent and it's very small. But we've learned so much over the last 2 years that we're starting to get the ball rolling again. So I think we tried to start really, really high and broad, but now we kind of rolling it back and trying to make sure that we can be consistent. So my goal for this is consistency.
Over the last 2 years, when did you guys? I know you were starting that story, or you were telling your story of how you guys were making the
yeah.
But like, how long ago was that?
So this was back in 2018, 2019.
Okay.
And so fast forward, we made the song, and then we realized that we should make it an LLC. I partnered with my dude, and we ended up putting out our first single, which was my song called Loose, with my homegirl Alex and the which is one of the dopest names ever. Like, it's just Alex and the ... That's her name. That's crazy. But the first time we met, like, was in the studio, like me and her. And so, like, we literally sat and we recorded that record the first time we met. And but the thing I didn't know is that was her first time, like, on the microphone, period. And I was like, what? Like, you never made music before? Like, for real? And so that happened. And then I get it distributed through my boy. And then somebody had heard it, and they sent it to actually my pops had heard it, and he was like, you my son, but I fuck with you. It's kind of hard. So he slid it to DJ Enough. But he didn't tell DJ Enough that I was his son. So he slid it to DJ Enough, and DJ Enough was like, this shit is fire. So I'm at work, like, this is like middle of pandemic. I'm at work outside talking to customers, getting cursed out by some lady. And my pops is like, yo, go turn on the radio right now. And I'm like, I can't, motherfucker, I'm at work. I can't. He's like, no, like, take a break, go to the car, turn on the radio. Sure enough, I turn on the radio, 2:00, DJ Enough is playing Loose on the radio. On I'm like, what are we talking about? What's happening, bro? And so after that, the song kind of like blew up, right? And I think, even without really doing much, that's probably still my biggest record, like 600,000 streams or whatever like that. And so, but that was a cool first
That's
start.
dope, bro.
It was lightning in the bottle, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of hard to replicate at like a high level. We shot videos for it. We did all these things for it.
Did you do all those things after it went on?
So we shot. So it's funny. So we shot like a trailer for it. We didn't want to do a full-fledged video. So if y'all go on my page, if you scroll down, there's like a video that's just like a trailer. I'm driving in a BMW.
Yep.
Everything is lit. It's hard. But we only wanted it to be a minute.
I like it too because it's a loose single. Or what?
Yeah. I see what you did there.
Yeah, I liked it. I was like, all right, that's dope.
But so then the song started moving, and I'm like, oh shit. So now we had to backtrack. We had to go shoot a video so we can get more traction on it. And so we ended up spending mad bread on that record. And it was helpful, but what happened was that we didn't kind of temper ourselves in terms of like what we wanted, especially still trying to be independent. Yeah, like I don't want to sign to no record label. I don't want to give away all my stuff for the sake of just giving it away. Like, there needs to be a really good deal. And so we kind of stretched ourselves thin trying to like replicate that. And we did put everything into that record for it to kind of, fizzle down a little bit. Yeah. And so that's when we did Sweet Potatoes not too long after that. And again, trying to do a rollout and trying to do these really, really grand things. We kind of had the understanding now that it's like, we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. We just want to be consistent in terms of what type of records we're putting out. As long as the music sounds good and we can kind of be clever in terms of how we roll it out, then that's what we're gonna work on.
Yeah, man. That's the shit nobody taught. I mean, like, as a podcast, right? Like, it's vulnerable putting shit out. Like, that's why we kind of stop editing our own clips and stuff we talk about all the time. It's hard to objectively criticize something you're putting
your
out,
artwork,
right?
It's hard to criticize your own art,
and that's why I think most artists and stuff like you guys are like perfectionists, so it comes naturally. You're already criticizing yourself, but it's a roller coaster when you work really hard to put something out and you get great feedback. You know what I mean? And then you're just like, and the content is there, right? Like, you know, like, it's like you got lucky because your pops hooked you up with this, but if the content wasn't there, if the bars weren't there, if the music wasn't there, it's not blowing up. But and it's like, man, how come and that's why it's props to you, like, sticking hard to independent, because that people talk like from a third party perspective, as not like an artist or nothing. All I think about is a paycheck or not having to post on social media or whatever, and I think it's that, but the real thing is like, how do you get a little taste of that, like, this is rolling, this is hitting, and then it's like, how can you make this happen every time? And the crazy shit is a lot of those labels can't. You know what I mean? As long as you perform, right? Like they push shit that doesn't deserve to be pushed, right? And then it flops or whatever. But like, it's like, man, as long as I put Loose out, or you know what I mean, or Sweet Potato Pie, you know, it's like or Sweet Potatoes is like, are you gonna make this shit happen? It's like, yeah, that's hard to say no to, or not, you know, like.
Yeah, and the thing about it is they sell you on a dream, but like I said, if 100,000 songs come out every day, even if a fraction of those are good, right? Like, because everybody can make music. It's so accessible now. Like, literally, you can make a beat on your phone. There's no excuse for you to not be able to create. If your shit is dope, it's dope. But at the end of the day, it's like, if even 10% of those songs are dope, it's still trying to like get it to the masses. And so what record labels have right now is they have a disposable income to be able to kind of help you out. And they have relationships.
That's the biggest part. Yeah,
that's the biggest part that you kind of need in these spaces. Like, as much as you want to say that like Apple Music is separate, or like Spotify is separate, or whatever, Tidal, all of these things, they still have playlists. They still have people that they can kind of reach out to. A record label can get, like, a perfect example. If you follow like an independent artist right now, and you go on their page, depending on how they put their music out. Like, if they didn't use TuneCore, if they didn't use CD Baby, if you wanted to like read the lyrics to their song, only a select few have the fact on Apple Music where you can kind of like animate the lyrics.
Yeah.
But Apple Music has the discretion to be able to pick who that feature can get turned on for.
That's
it's not everybody,
crazy,
right? So then there's like a secondary app called Music Match where you can annotate those things yourself. But the thing about it is that it has to be I think it has to be like approved by multiple people, or it has to be like followed and like liked by multiple people on Music Match for it to get enough traction for them to turn that feature on Apple. So you get what I'm saying? So it's like there's all of these kind of things that make it difficult as like an independent artist to kind of have that same bandwidth that a big record label push would give you. And it's kind of, you know, you want to try to like not burn yourself out, and because every record is like this. There's so many people that I know that are like, I know mad artists that have amazing music, but when they put a song out, it don't really get no plays, it don't really get no traction. And the music is there, but it's just like, how did you market it? How who did you reach out to? Did you really pull your relationships? And then you could do everything right, and then the algorithm could just be like, yeah, nobody gonna see it right now.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So you kind of at a rock and a hard place. And then with Facebook ads or like IG ads, you'll run an ad, and how they'll get you is like, let's say you never ran an ad before. So like, let's say you take a pocket watch and y'all try to do like an ad real quick. Y'all pick like y'all funniest clip, or even a clip that's not that funny. Y'all put some bread into it, and then you let it automate the audience that you want to pick. You pick wherever y'all, you know, in Florida, and then you might pick the East Coast, and then that first ad you run, they'll let that shit go, and they'll go crazy. You get like 10,000 views in like a day, X, Y, and Z. Great. You let it run for a month. You're gonna get 100,000 views on that one post, and it's gonna be great. But you need to take a look. Did it equal actually more followers who want to listen to your whole podcast?
Yeah, with
Did
conversion
it equal
rates.
people that conversion rate is it high or is it low?
Yeah.
Regardless what the answer is, the next time you post something without an ad, it's going to get throttled whether you want it to or not. And I don't know if it's throttled in a sense of, I'm not going to accuse them of nothing, but I don't know if it's throttled in the sense of you pay for one, and so this is your actual retention, or let me put the brakes on it just a little bit more so you think you got to us again.
Yeah.
And so then you put more money into it, but the next ad with a different clip that has the same amount of humor, the same amount of education, entertainment, has all of the same factors. You put the same ad, and it'll get 20% of those same views, even though the content was just as strong.
Yep.
But because you paid once and now you got it, it's like a drug. They're never going to let you get that.
Well,
it's
like a million things though with that, because it's like it feels kind of weird calling them out for it, right? But it's not. They're a business, right? Like at the end of the day, here, do the thing. It's a business, right? Like at the end of the day, they're here to make money, right? So why is it crazy that they would do that? And is it hard? No, to do something like that. But it is true, because we've done that. I've advertised certain posts that we've had or whatever, and it's like, what the first one it popped, and then after that, certain things it does feel like it gets throttled. And it's like,
something I always wondered about, like the advertisement side of it, is why don't they just do like a flat rate price type of thing? Like, we'll put you in front of 200,000 people for $20.
Like a monthly subscription?
No, not a monthly subscription, but like why isn't it flat rate? Like those type of things. It's like you put a budget amount and you let that shit run, and then you can get 2,000 views and your budget's out, and you put the same amount of money, you get 20,000 views and your budget's out.
It's an estimated
exactly, and I feel like it should be like it should be like 200,000 views flat. But I also know that they charge you, like if somebody clicks, they charge a little bit more, stuff like that. I understand that, but I feel like the breakdown for the pay should be more click, like basic. You know what I mean? Like 200,000 views, and each person clicks. Like if it converts over to whatever you want them to click on, like the follow, whatever. If that that converts, all right, we're going to charge you 10 cents for each one. You know what I mean? But instead, it's like a hidden formula.
If they did it that way, from a business standpoint,
right,
and everybody would just pay, and it wouldn't be successful, because
right,
at that point, your whole it's already like 10-15% ads when you're scrolling now, but it would be even worse if everybody could just pay to get their stuff, because in order to guarantee, you'd have to forcefully put it. I think what they try to do is they try to lock you in with people who have a specific type of interest. Yeah. So like if you happen to like a couple of podcast posts in the last 24 hours, okay, that might fit into this niche. Let me put it in front of this person, and they're more likely to click it. And that kind of creates these like weird algorithmic kind of formulas that it's kind of difficult to just, because you could put it in front of 200,000 people, but it wouldn't equal click through.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You got to choose your audience correctly. Yeah, and even still, I still think it'll be a better business, in my opinion. But that's not me at that chair up there. But for me, I think it would be a better system if they were, even if you could choose your own audience, and depending on how strict you want to make your audience, it becomes a little bit more expensive. You could do different like tiers. It's like, hey, you want to choose the city. Okay, we're going to bump up the price a little bit. Okay, you want to choose interest. We bump the price up a little bit.
What they do is like
they do though.
But doing it, you put a budget for a timeline or whatever, and then as you enter more detailed people, it kind of lowers.
Yeah. I know.
Or rises like your reach,
your audience,
or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. It already does that for you. That's what I'm saying. It already does it. But the difference is, I just wish it was like a flat baseline number,
so that that.
What exactly.
You pay for.
I agree with you 100%. But then I think the other thing is that like how they count a view.
Yeah.
Right. So like if they were guaranteeing you this much exposure, but then everybody that sees it, as soon as they see sponsored, they just scroll past it.
Oh yeah.
So it's like that rock and hard. But I 100% agree with you. I think that would be a more sufficient model for us as the creators. But I try to put myself in the mindset of somebody who's not a creator, and I'm scrolling through Instagram, and I'm like, how many times do I actually stop?
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, cool.
If it catches my eye, I'll stop, man.
Yo, that's the golden fucking rule, bro. You know what you're talking about. And at the end of the day, what we're talking about, you got to put good content out. At the end of the day, you got to put good shit out. Whatever, like it's win-lose world out here. You know what I mean? Whatever, like it don't matter what the little games. There's games to be played, this is why I love it, because that's the independent type thing. That's the level of work it takes in the marketing side, when you're trying to do shit yourself and stuff like that, is you gotta get. You sound kind of like lame talking about that shit, but at the same time, it's like no, like you gotta be aware at least. Right,
That's
like these are all tools. This is all the landscape of, and it's just Instagram too. At the end of the day, just like you take it to the the DJ or whatever, or do the shirt, the hoodies and stuff like that. It's like it's just Instagram. You know what I mean? Like if you think that's the only marketing impact you can make, then you're fighting with one hand tied behind your back. You know what I mean? Like
but I changed it because you said like it's not lame to talk about it. I think more people need to be transparent in terms of what struggles they
have. Yeah, absolutely.
You would never tell dude on Wall Street that he's lame for trying to figure out how E-Trade works on the app, right?
Exactly.
They crashed earlier this morning and I got to try to figure out what's the back end. Yo, can I check Robinhood real quick? Is there another way? Oh no, Robinhood sucks because X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
All of we all in the same space where we have applications for everything.
Yep.
So why would it not make sense for content creators to have to kind of go through some of those similar struggles? It's just because it's more broad and everybody's a content creator, sure.
Yeah.
But I still think it's important for people to kind of start to have these conversations and really try to understand.
Yeah, man.
I just most of it.
I just think like to the people because there's some people that will post some shit and it blows up regardless, right? And it's like, and it's like, like you don't have to worry about the details, but don't shit on me while I'm down here in the trenches. You know what I mean? Like trying to work out because you get the one that pops and you're like, all right, which one? How does this look? All right, cool. And then that's the thing that I always hear. Mike Conlon from Wet Slap, the Sneakers Kid, and now Brooklish. That's three people that it's the will I stop and look test. Like if I saw this in my feed, does it catch my eye or does this look low quality? Does this look what? Is it quick enough? You know what I mean? And that's one thing I had to realize of why we outsource our videos. I was putting too much music at the beginning. This shit looked like a movie preview. And it's like, yo, that's not a clip. You know what I mean? Like a clip is words, like the Bad Bunny shit and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like
that shit was funny, bro. Like I really stopped. I'm like, yo, if I didn't already like follow y'all, I'd be like, oh, that's funny as hell. Like,
see?
Now I was thinking about it, I'm like, damn, would I get the nigga if I had enough money? That's one of those things. Like probably not, but like. I don't have Bad Bunny bread, so I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of stuff that, like, if your content is good, it's good.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of trying to catch that person in that vicinity.
Hey, when you up there, we're gonna have an episode about it. We're like, yo, all right, so we clipped this already. He's not coming back on the podcast, but we're gonna talk about this clip. My dog making bread.
That's bad for you. That's hilarious. But yeah, I think it's just really important for us to try to like filter it out. I think as podcasters, y'all have. We both have it really difficult because not everybody has a podcast, right? Like, but everybody shouldn't speak. I think that's 100% true. But y'all all seem like really genuine dudes who just like to have conversations, and that becomes more impactful. And I feel like listening to y'all stuff is like, oh, I'm just kicking it with the homies. Yeah, and that's type of the content that I love to listen to, because for me, there's so much music that comes out. I barely listen to music now. I'll be in my car. I'd rather put a podcast on than to hear an album, or to put my Apple Music on shuffle, and hopefully maybe 1 out of 5 songs is dope.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to have to keep listening to old music, so you know what I'm saying? Well, I just keep doing your thing. Shit is hard.
Bro, you know what it is like you know how like back in the day, you need to get a record and you need to put it in somebody's hands. You need to get it in the label's hands. You need to put it at the radio station's hands. And then now, 100,000 songs a day or whatever, right? Because everybody is so easy in access. Podcasts, man, it's like radio station equivalent of that, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't need a radio station. We got a soundboard, we got mics, we got a setup. You know what I mean? Like this is the radio station. Like if you want to tune in weekly or whatever, like this is the radio station version. True. I mean, and that's how we're kind of doing it. But it's like that's technically what podcasts are turning into, because people always need that. I'm chilling with the boys or the girls or whatever type of vibe, along with the music and shit like that. Like if you're working at a warehouse for 8 hours. A whole 365 days, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. You can only listen to Brooklish so much, you know what I
mean? But the other dope thing about it is that, like, because the radio, right, you would only get, like, segments, and they would have to go to break, and then you'd hear all they soundboard be going crazy. They'd be like, the new. I'm like, all right, bro, like, get back to the conversation. But with podcasts, you could literally have, like, an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour conversation. You could really get into the nitty gritty.
Or stop and go whenever you want, too. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not live. You can kind of take it back.
The cool part about being from New York is like, because we're doing the podcast and I'm proud of us with the amount of creators. Obviously, we need Zoom and stuff like that to connect enough, you know. But like, the surplus of creators that you have out there, like, I know that you're from New York, like born and raised in New York and whatnot, you know. But like, aren't you proud of that? Like, don't you love that? Like, how is that experience, man?
Yeah, because you know, like I said, I wouldn't put my city in my name if that wasn't really something I could be proud of. And I was laughing because people always ask me, you know, where I get my name from, and it was my AOL screen name back in the day. I went down south, and it was this girl that I really, really liked, and you know, she had the southern accent, and she was like, "Oh, you from New York?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know what I mean." She's like, "You sound a little different. You got that Brooklyn English, huh? You got that Brooklish." I was like, "Word, say that again." That's kind of dope. And so, you know, being in high school and middle school, my AIM name was Kid Brooklish 22. That was, you know, I just went with that for mad long, and then all of a sudden it just stuck, and people just kept calling me Brook. So, you know, but being from New York is one of those things where it's like it's a dope card that you could pull any place in the world. Like, you go someplace and you be like, "Yo, where you from?" I say I'm from New York. People are just like, "Oh, word, what part? Like, what's the city like?" And it's always really exciting. But there's a flip side to it where it's just like, as an artist and as a content creator, there's so many people. Like, I could throw a rock. I go outside right now and I could throw a stone and I hit somebody that raps. I promise you. I'm not even exaggerating. Yeah. And I know, like, people I follow, they all have podcasts and stuff like that. Yeah. And so it's really competitive. But you know, if your stuff is good, the biggest part that I've been learning is not about whether or not your stuff is good, honestly, because you know
that's the sad truth. You're right. Yeah.
But if you're consistent.
Yeah,
I think that goes a way longer way. You know what I mean? Because there's gonna be times where, like, I can't say what y'all revenue looking right now, but I know it's gonna be a long stretch before y'all start to really see some real, like, I could quit my day job and really go hard.
100%.
This shit a liability, bro.
Yeah, and they don't tell you that, right? Because it's like they don't tell you that you got to pay for your mic. They don't got to tell you that you got to get the soundboard.
No, man.
They don't tell you that you got to cancel on birthdays and shit like that because you're recording the podcast. Facts. Your girl about to divorce you.
You go on the podcast again? You cheating? I'm like, nah. I'm really trying to work. Like, but to anybody who's really about it, it could become a mistress for you. Like, it could become something that's like on the side, and like you gotta you pick one. It's like I done missed a lot of like really dope events and hanging out with some people because I was like, I'm gonna go to the studio right now, or I'm gonna go figure out this business meeting. I'll work from 12 o'clock in the afternoon till 10 o'clock at night, and then drive to Crown Heights, which is maybe like 30 minutes from me, and then have a 3-hour meeting, and then come back home at 3 o'clock, and I have to take my daughter to school at 7. It is what it is.
But what you said was true, bro. Consistency, like, content matters, like, for long term, I think, right? Like if like I downloaded Apparatus, no problem, right? Because I listened to what you've dropped before and stuff, and that content brings me back no matter what, right? But everything you're worried about on a day-to-day is getting that new listener or that new reach or whatever, you know what I mean? But you're right, like, content doesn't matter for that new reach necessarily, and consistency is the biggest thing, right? Like, Russ was the one that did SoundCloud like every week, right? Or every week
for like 1 or 2 years, and I'm just like, yo. But the thing about it is, I use him as a model in terms of like his output was really, really high, and I don't think I'd be able to. I have a certain level of standard that I want to be able to create music with, because I don't want to waste people's time. So I don't want to output a song every single week. I tried that at one point, but it wasn't a full-fledged song. Like 1 or 2 years ago, I tried to do something called 52 Pickup, where I would literally put out a freestyle verse every single Friday, and I would write a freestyle verse, pick a beat, shoot a video for it, record it, get it mixed by my boy Paco, and then try to post it up every Friday. And I think I got through maybe like 20 weeks.
Jeez.
And I was like, fuck.
Yeah, this is a lot, bro.
That's hard to do by yourself, bro.
That's shooting the video.
Yeah,
bro. I would roll up with my mans. I'd be like, my boy Jamal, who's also a really great rapper. I'd be like, yo, it's 12 o'clock at night. Can you just pull up on me real quick? Let's go by the square over there and just shoot a real video, or let's go by the Brooklyn Museum. I had so many videos at night because I was working, and I'll have somebody pull up, bring the phone, and just record a quick video.
Yeah.
But to put that output out for a year, that takes a lot of dedication.
That's
and
ridiculous, bro. And two things is like that's what Russ did. That don't mean like that's done, kind of, right? Like him and let's just say 15 other artists did that already, right? And that's kind of like worn out a little bit. SoundCloud. I don't know if SoundCloud is the same as it once was. If that technique might work, but I think the clip idea is the same thing in a different form. Right, where it's like here's TikTok clips, here's Instagram clips, here's a Stranger Things recap. So I'm hitting the trendy shit. Plus, I fucking want to talk about Stranger Things anyways, right? Like that. That's a good fucking idea. And not everybody has the same creative process. That's what I hate about the rap game. It's hard and it's a judgmental ass field. You know what I mean? Where like they have very high standards on this is what a rapper needs to do, right? Like once who like Jay-Z or Lil Wayne or whatever is like I don't write nothing or whatever, it's like that's what you have to do. That's if you can't produce bars like Russ, weekly and shit like that motherfucker did 10 songs in 1 week and then chilled for 2 weeks and then did it again. That was that's his creative process. That don't mean that's the same for everybody. What is your creative process? I was wondering because you were kind of touched on it when you did the on the bakery idea or whatever.
I mean, that's a really great question. So for me, I feel like I always get in hope. Jay-Z is one of the greatest rappers of all time. Like Biggie, some of my favorite rappers, but like that process of being able to retain, like write in your head and then retain it, but then spit it and still have confidence and still have a dope flow and a delivery, that takes a different level of genius. And everybody is not like has the ability to do that. So for me, my creative process is I love to write things down because I need to see words. Like I try, I like to be a wordsmith. So I need to be able to see that, this word has this many syllables in it, but there's a smaller word within that word that I could play with and pull it from. And I like to like create a puzzle that way. So like to kind of break things down and kind of like go along that way. So if I want something to be really complex, I'll really like pull it together that way. But what I've been doing more recently though is that I realized that my confidence and my cadence wasn't really pulling what it could from the music. And I realized that as an artist, we also have to understand that our voice is a part of the music. It's not just what you say, it's also how you say it. That's really important. And so for me, what I started doing recently was I stopped worrying so much about the lyrics. At first, I'll use a voice memo and I'll try to find the right sound for my tone that will enhance this record. Like how do I want to approach it sonically? All right, cool. Now that I got that, I can do that. And then I'll pick things apart. Like for the project Apparatus, and we can kind of get into it a little bit later. But the first song, Escalation, I got that beat and I was listening to it. And this is why my Apple Watch is my favorite like tech that I own. Because I was listening to the beat on my phone in my car. And if anybody knows, you can't record a voice note and listen to music at the same time. But Apple updated it maybe like a year ago where you can do voice notes on your watch.
Ooh.
So I'll press play, the music be playing out, and the second I get an idea, I got a shortcut on my watch. I just hit my voice note, start going off to my wrist. I look crazy in my car, but I'll be like, yeah, just trying to find a flow. And then I'll put that shit down, and then it'll automatically show up on my phone. When I get to the crib, I can listen to it and I can transcribe. I might have hit like, okay, it sound like I said something. What syllable was that? What word was that? Maybe I can fuck with that. Or sometimes I hit a stretch where I'm really freestyling and I catch a pocket where it's like 8 or 12 bars where I was really saying something. I could just write that down. Like I just said it verbatim and it would fit right there. Like that. I ain't had a drink in about 2 months. I freestyled that, and I like verbatim. I said that while I was driving in the car, and I was like, that got to go someplace. And I go, this shit is hard. Like
that was on Escalation.
Yeah, that was at the end. But the dope part about it was that part, like 4 or 5 years ago, I would have took that part because it's the most catchy part, and I'd have probably made that an actual hook in the song.
Yeah.
But because of how I recorded it, and I was freestyling, and I freestyled for the first time I heard it, like I found these weird pockets, so I just wrote to my freestyle. the exact same cadence, the exact same timing, the same, like, I didn't change anything. So instead of trying to go back and rework it to make it a song, I was like, this would be a good introduction.
Yep.
So I made it. So that's why I called it Escalation, because it starts and the hook doesn't come in until the end of it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of ill. So that's a little bit kind of how I try to like tap into my creative process right now.
That's dope. Yeah, that's a good process. I like that. That's like, it's funny too, because it's very true. I tried to do stand up for a little bit, right? And it was too. It was good. It was a good experience or whatever. But it is funny. Like even the content of the joke versus how you deliver it matters, right? Like if you're sitting there and you got great jokes, but if you're nervous the whole time, it's awkward here. Nobody's gonna laugh. Or if you got shit jokes and then like you just happen to come off on the mic nice or whatever, like that, the whole crowd goes crazy. And it's true. Like same thing with rapping or whatever. How long have you been doing this, bro?
And I've been rapping forever, bro. I've been rapping for seriously rapping probably about 15 years.
15 years.
Yeah, like seriously rapping. But then trying to like really like make it a career probably like the last like 5 or 6. Like really like, okay, I could do this for real.
They're taking it seriously.
Yeah, like because I have a daughter. My daughter's 8. Or she's about to be 8. And it's funny because like I used to work at Verizon. I used to work at the Verizon store selling phones. And I got into it with my boss because I didn't like working there, because when you work in sales, you get paid on commission, and they incentivize you to a lot of people. And I don't like doing that. Like I can't stand that. It was fucking me morally. So I got into a heated argument with my boss, some short dude. I don't know. But and I was like, nah, fuck this, I'm quitting. And I just quit that day, and I was like, I'm gonna be a rapper full time. And you know, I was on the path, and I was, you know, talking to a bunch of people and thinking about getting a record deal. And then maybe like 3 weeks after I quit, I found out I was having a daughter, and I was like, shit.
Damn.
I probably got to go back to work. So I started working at my job now. And I've been there for about 8 years. And my job is great. Like if I wasn't really good at music, I would totally like take this as a strong career path.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm just so passionate about it. Like when I'm the type of person that like when I get new information, no matter what it is, if I'm listening to a podcast and somebody says some shit that's clever, like I'll write it down on my phone. Like, how can I make that a bar later?
Yeah.
I'd be like, so that, but I can't escape it. Like I'm always thinking in that way. Like if you go on my phone right now, I probably have literally like 1,500 notes.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like 16s here, a phrase there, like on my voice memos, mad voice memos. You know what I mean? So it's like I can't escape it. So I'm just passionate about it, and I just love doing it.
Yo, you know what? I feel like that's like the same process as a stand-up, right? Too. The only difference I will say though is like it'd be like if you were going for a rap battle, but that might be a little more bit of like the risk or something like that.
No. It's the same. I love stand-up. Like I don't think I could ever do it because I'm not consistently funny like that.
Right.
It's like consistently.
I make you laugh. I make you laugh once or twice, but to get up on stage and really like
to get up a lot, yeah,
and you have to be. Y'all was talking to I forgot his name, but y'all was talking about with this other guy about the repetitiveness of having to say the same joke over and over again. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. That was a really dope interview, but it's just like, you have to perfect it, but you get with music, at least I can kind of cheat, right?
Yeah.
Like I can use auto-tune if I wanted to. Like I have an idea for a melody. I can't find somebody to sing it, so I can kind of have some tools to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And I put it out into the world and let it do what it does. With comedy, it's instant feedback. Like the feedback is immediate. Like if this joke doesn't work, it sucks. Like right now. Like you got to go home and figure that shit out. Like there's no you can't get around that.
It hurts.
And your pride is gonna be you got fuck. But I think that's something. I think that's something everybody needs to kind of experience. I think on an artist level, it's like going to a show and the crowd just not fucking with you.
Yep. That's equivalent right there. I'll give you that. That's true.
Yeah. But it's a little bit different because what I learned, like, not too maybe like, what was this like? So maybe 8 or 9 years ago, I had opened up for Nas, right?
Oh, that's dope. Let's go. That's super dope.
It was fire and it was really, really dope. But I remember being in that was my first time like on a major stage, and it was like 500 people in the crowd, and I'm like, oh, this shit is live, and like I start rapping and they're all quiet. and I'm like, I'm trash. Like the entire set, I'm like, I am garbage. This is like going from song to song. I'm giving my heart and I'm rapping and all of these words and then I'm like, that was terrible. Wow. And I got off the stage, but the sound guy pulled me to the side and he was like, yo, that was fucking ill. And I was like, don't lie to me, bro. Then he was like, no. And I was like, the crowd really wasn't feeling it. And he was like, no, as an artist, what you really need to understand, and there's a difference between the crowd not fucking with you as a musician and the crowd being locked in but not knowing your music.
Yeah.
They were listening to you.
Yeah.
Right? They want but the thing about it was, for me at that time, is like I was such a rapper's rapper that like I didn't have any hooks or something like that. So I didn't have anything that the audience could gravitate towards in the moment and play with me at the same time. Yeah. But they were locked in like, nah, he's spitting, he's really about that. That's something I learned over time, that you really have to have something that the audience can kind of, it's a back and forth. Like
a grabber. Yep.
Yeah. So like if I'm performing like a show, I'd probably do Way Up over Escalation. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, because I want the crowd to be able to kind of feel it and know what to expect so they can kind of play along. Now, if I start to, if and when, I'm trying to be positive about my career, but when I start to garner a bigger audience, then you can kind of play with what you want to perform, because then people know your music already. Yeah. Like Kendrick coming out and doing Look Out for Detox or Rigor Mortis to a crowd that doesn't know it. He's barring up crazy. Yeah, the crowd is going to, but he's impressive, so you're going to sit there and listen. But there's no interaction in that. It's just a performance at that point.
Yeah.
So
no.
A lot of the best concerts too, like I don't want to say best, but like a lot of times when the crowd is engaging with like musicians, it's them singing along with the musician. And they can still fuck with the music even if they don't know your music. But how do you can't expect them to sing along with you if they don't know you.
Exactly.
Yeah, so like I can definitely see how that can be taken like that. And that's definitely valid. That's true.
And plus, that's like you're opening for Nas, right? So like his fan base, that's a good market to be performing in front of, where you can lean more towards they were listening. Right, like if you're at like a fucking Travis Scott, or something like that.
They want to turn up. It's like you can't be coming in there with all these bars and trying to talk about how the world is fucked up. Like I don't care about this shit. Turn up. You're like, all right,
maybe they weren't feeling you, but I think it's a good argument that they were listening at a concert like that.
Especially with Nas, because your music style and stuff like that is really similar to that. Like that type of style.
Yeah, but it's interesting too, because it's like there's some songs that are straight bars that it's like you can't wait to hear that shit at a concert, right? Like, it's got to come with some liveliness. Like Adios, right? On Apparatus, that beat is fire. That opening, fire. Like that's something you could blast at a show or something, and the crowd, anybody that knows the song or whatever, is gonna feel that and know the timing and everything.
It's so funny to me though, because that's one of those things. So like for this project, right? We get into it. Like I had to get a surgery recently because I had a really bad injury. And so I was stuck in my crib and I had really bad writer's block. And because I was intimidated by trying to, all of this music that's coming out, and I didn't really feel like my stuff was adequate and anybody would care about what I had to say. And, I watched this video on YouTube where this dude was talking about like productivity, and he was just like, inspiration doesn't just come out of nowhere. Like motivation doesn't just come out of nowhere. People think that like you're gonna get motivated and then you'll take action and then you'll have this. But he's like, sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you gotta take action and then you'll be motivated. Yep. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. So I sat in front of my computer right here, and I just wrote. And so I did this freestyle on TikTok where like when pushing P was like a huge thing. And I just did a freestyle where I just did a bunch of like words that start with P or have P in it. But I found this producer from New Zealand, and I just asked him, I said, yo, can I post this on TikTok? And he was like, I don't have a TikTok. I don't care. Do what you want to do. And I was like, all right, great. But then I sent him the video and he was like, oh, you're actually dope for real. Oh, okay, yeah, cool. Let me send you a beat pack. And so he sent me some songs. So he sent me like 7 tracks and I loved all of them. And so I sat there and I was listening to it in my car, in between maybe like Thursday and Sunday. I wrote all of those songs. And so like some of them had like different meanings, but with Adios, that was the song that took me the quickest. Like that one came out real fast and I didn't think nothing of it, but all of the feedback that I've been getting, people really fuck with that song. And that's just surprising to me, because I was like, I guess it's cool. Like I like it. I'm glad y'all do too. So that's funny. But
we've heard that from multiple artists before. Like their song that they least expect to be like the most popular song, people tends to gravitate towards that song.
We're consumers. We're selfish, bro. Yeah. We don't care about the amount of work you put into each song.
No, it's true.
Whatever ain't that some shit? How that works? It's like, motherfucker, you like Adios?
I can appreciate it. But I can appreciate it though, because at the end of the day, for me, the hardest part about it is you said it earlier. Like, I'm a perfectionist, so I can't separate myself from my music. So when I listen to myself, I'm always listening to see how I can improve, but I can never like enjoy my voice on a record. I'm always like, damn, I fucked up with that syllable. Oh shit, you can hear my lisp over there. I don't like that. Like, I just sound, I'd be like super analytical. I think for the first time in maybe like 6 years, I did my boy has an album coming out in a few months, but I have a single with him, and the song is called Vacations in the Nude. And it's just like an innuendo about him wanting to spend some time with his wifey, getting it on. And I heard it and I was like, this shit is fire. And I wrote that shit, like I was in it and I was jamming. And that's one of the few songs that I could put on and just enjoy it as a record, as a piece of music. I was like, it don't even feel like I'm on it. It just feels like it was a nice marriage and I could like just enjoy that record. But that never happens with anything else. Like every time I listen to Apparatus, I'm just like, we should have mixed that better. That's crazy.
Yeah. So ain't no way, bro. Ain't that some shit too? And it's like you're sitting there editing and criticizing something that you heard 30, 40, 50 times already, where it don't matter because you already lost out on that first impression. Listen.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I never had it. I never had the first impression. Like, I don't know what it's like to like you get a mix back. Like if I send it to my engineer and he mixes it, I'm like, oh, this sounds dope. But then even then I'm like, yo, can you turn this up? You don't enjoy it. You listen critically. Yeah. So I'm enjoying the fact that people hear Adios for the first time and they're like, this is that shit. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's dope. I didn't know that was that shit, but cool. You know what I mean? So that's dope.
It matters too, like where you listen to shit. Like I try my best not to, even if something drops, I won't listen to it until I'm ready for it, right? Like the setting, everything, it depends on the artist, whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it matters, and sometimes you can't control it or whatever, but then it matters like placement. And I think, what was the first song again? Escalation. So you got Escalation, and you're right. It was straight bars, and it was like, you already knew what type of vibe it was gonna be, and then you ended it with the chorus, which was cool. And then it went into Adios, and it had like that old school, like that old school vibe. And then it just hit like a beat drop that didn't happen in Escalation, really. You know what I mean? Like Escalation kind of had the mellow beat the whole time, and you were going over it the whole time. And then Adios hit the beat drop that never really happened yet, and then carry it out. And then what was Way Up?
Yeah, Way Up comes right after that,
which was a lot more chorus, right?
Yeah, like so I tried to experiment. I was like, well, let me get one of these songs to actually have like actual song format. But yeah, like that record was, bits and pieces of like real stories. I was going through a breakup at the time, and it was just like, I just felt like, I gave you a lot and it didn't really work out. And just like, I felt like a sucker. So I just tried to describe that in like an artistic way. But yeah, I mean, this project was something that like, I had to put out music in like a year and a half, almost 2 years, I feel like. And I just wanted to put something out. And so for me, this was just like a challenge to myself to just like to get out of my own way and just really just put music out. And whether people like it or don't like it, this is my push to myself to start to be consistent. And so like this is just the beginning of more, because I got way more shit in the tuck that's coming. Like I've been working for years on songs that nobody's like ever heard. So like I'm really excited, but I just needed to get over this slump of not putting nothing out.
Yeah, bro. Get over that shit, bro. You need to keep putting more shit out, man. Like 15 years, no shit. That's good. Like you can hear the experience. You can hear even I played an experiment on my girl because she thinks our podcast is lame and shit like that. Whatever. We'll talk about that later. But like she jokingly thinks we're lame, right? But it's like we were on our way to dinner and I played. I think it was Adios probably, and then I kind of blasted it, and I was like, oh yeah, it's new music or whatever, and then like it started going, and I could tell she was bobbing her head and shit, and I was like, that shit kind of good, right? Like that shit pretty fire, right? And she's like, yeah, that's good. I was like, yeah, he's gonna be on the podcast on Sunday, all right? Like
he's gonna be on our trash podcast.
I was like, let's go, but I was like, nah, but he he definitely has been doing this for a while. You could tell. And she was like, yeah, like you could tell he's been around. Like he like the words mean something. The beat slaps kind of thing, right? Where it's not just just the music thing or whatever. And then that's the funny thing about creative space, bro, is you don't get that shit from sitting in the house, right? Like it comes from you got knowledge, you got wisdom right now. Just the amount of time, just your age, right? Like you've lived a lot of life, bro. You got a lot of shit to pull from, and it's crazy how that's such a tool in the creative space, right?
It is. But the other thing that's so crazy is that like I have so many experiences that like I'm so busy living that I'll forget about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then so the reason I had writer's block is because I was trying to figure out, like, I'm stuck between this rock and this hard place of trying to be accessible to fans, but also trying to have my music mean something. And like, how do I find that balance between doing that? And I always end up getting stuck. And then my producer just be like, just say what's in your heart, bro. Like, and so like the other night we was in the studio and he played a beat, and like literally we had just recorded maybe like 3 or 4 songs. But I was going back and forth with those. But then he played a beat, and I said, yo, put that on repeat real quick. And no exaggeration, maybe like 11 minutes. I wrote a whole like 32 bar verse about my ex.
Yeah.
Because I ran into her at a party, and I was like, and I wrote it, and I laid it down. But I was, let me just lay down a reference. And he was like, bro, this is fire. I'm like, I mean, yeah. He's like, no, but this is honest. Like, this is a bit that really, and I could really like, you put it together because it actually happened to you. And I was like, you know, I don't do that enough. I don't really like talk about my life for real. Like, I'm always trying to like make it bigger than me. And sometimes I just got to be a little bit more relatable to myself. So that's been something that I've been trying to work on as well.
Ain't that some weird shit too? It's like you want to do creator, you want to be artist, but at the end of the day, ain't it true? Like, only the shit that's hard to talk about is the shit that people care about.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like, you want to be surface level, nobody gives a fuck. And then like, whenever you get deep and you do something that really is hard to put out there, like that's the shit that takes effort or you know, emotion to fucking post, right? And see some shit. It's like, that's the shit that, but at the end of the day, podcasts, songs and shit, like that's all you want to hear about, right? Like your favorite songs that you've heard is about, that rapper is talking about an experience or whatever the case is, you know? And it's like, damn, ain't that true? You know, you can't just play the game and just stay surface level and want to like try to get fans and shit or people to actually care about what you're talking about. You don't even care about, you know, enough to put some shit out there that matters, you know? It's weird.
I think there's a lane for if you care about some aspect of it. I think the core of it is you have to care about something in what you're putting out. Because sometimes like the lyrics don't gotta be crazy like that because the music just feels good, right? Because you wanted to make it feel good. But if you didn't care at all, and like, because I know so many artists that think that rap music right now is like the crack game, where like I'm gonna get in real quick, I'm gonna flip a pack, and then I'm gonna go act now, or I'm gonna go leverage it so I can have 1 million followers on social media and I can start selling tummy tea. Yeah, so, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what they're trying to accomplish. But at the end of the day, it's like you could tell there's certain people that still really care about what they put out, and they put a lot of work and they put a lot of craft into it. And there's so many dope artists that like I admire. Like your Marlon Crafts, like your Frank Knights, my boy Mandela Eskia, just so many just dope underground artists that like they might not be household names, but I can tell that they care about every single thing that they putting out.
Yeah, man, and I don't mean that even like in the rap game, even like for you, right? Like bars and talking about shit that you care about, right? But like even if you're like a Travis Scott, Lil Baby type or whatever, being able, even for Travis Scott, let's just say, the wild shit he does means that's effort, right? Yep. Like if you got a 9-to-5 that you're trying to keep, you ain't posting shit, he's posting. You know what I mean? You don't care then. You know what I mean? That's the hard part. You know, it's like, yo, this guy, Travis Scott posts his videos are wild, like it's crazy, like he's talking wild, like in his songs, even though it's like that perfect, like that scientific melody that's needed, you know, in his songs or whatever, but he's saying kind of like crazy shit, like
yeah. But even with Travis, right? Because that, like, you know, before the whole Astroworld fiasco, like he was still capturing like an experience that a lot of people had. like that, because I'm pretty introverted, so like I'll be out, like once I'm out, I'm out. But if I had to choose between like sitting home watching movies and like going to a party where people annoy me, I'm gonna sit in my crib and watch mad movies.
Yeah.
But he was capturing the essence of people who be outside like really moshing, turning up and going crazy, and like but then if you really listen, like Travis be still saying some shit that's super relatable.
Yeah.
So it's layers to the stuff that he has. So like sonically, if you checked out, you could be drugged up and it still hits you on like in your soul.
Yeah.
But if you like tapped in and you sad and you just want like, oh nice, yeah, fuck that bitch too. Yeah, word. Or like you know what I'm saying? So like again, it's about having some care and really trying to like express something genuine.
Yep.
I think that's the part that's hard.
Same thing with Lil Baby. To me, like he's popped off because of his sound for sure, but he's still around because of his bars and shit like that.
Rap.
Yeah,
He could definitely spit, man.
Yeah. And getting vulnerable and doing some of those shits, that's just part of it. Like that's a thing, man. Like I don't know, but you do very fucking well, bro. Like and that shit's starting to show, man. I mean, it's been showing. Like it's really cool to like have you on the podcast and shit and talk some shit, bro.
Listen, I appreciate y'all for just even like thinking of me and just be like, nah, come on. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. So like. I was getting upset like because on my TikTok was like I was going viral for a couple of minutes and I was like, all right, it's lit. And then I took a break because I just needed a break mentally. And I feel like TikTok punished me for not posting. So now every time I post, it don't show it to nobody. Literally, like I got like 10,000 followers and it just don't show it to anybody. And that's like discouraging. But then I had to give myself like a pep talk and just like, even if one person comments that I don't actually know, like that shit goes a long way. And the fact that you say like you found me on TikTok, I'm like, this shit is working. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can't take that for granted and not appreciate it. Like the internet is such an amazing thing. Like y'all are miles from me. Like it would take me a day to drive to where y'all at, but we could have a whole full-fledged conversation. And like this shit is so incredible to me. And so we can be frustrated at it, or we can look at the benefits of it and the fact that like, the world is connected us in a different way. So I'm just appreciative for y'all having me on. Yeah, man,
and it's just for you, bro, and that's the way we feel about a lot of it. It's just the game to be played. It's just the consistency. The where do we hit this? Where do we hit that? It's not about really the content, bro. Because like when I saw your shit, like there's some people you see and you might like check like the following and stuff before you. I followed because I was like, that's dope. Like that was that, and that means there's content, right? That means like it just fucking algorithm and shit. You know what I mean? Like that, bro. There's so many people trying every day. Like there's that many, people doing songs and then post is a different beast, right? TikTok post,
a whole different craft, bro.
Bigger bucket.
Like my boy Stevie Ray, which is, if y'all don't follow him on TikTok, he's like incredible. But he was posting, right? And like he had maybe like 1,000 followers, but he stuck to his guns and he was like, yo, I'm gonna post the same song every day, different ways. I'm gonna talk about the song in the beginning, I'm gonna post it here, I'm gonna post this verse, X, Y, Z. And he did it every day for 30 days. And on like the 29th day, somebody, because I was talking to him in the DM and I was on the 29th day, somebody, one of his followers was like, all right, bro, we get it. Like, you made this song. Like, all right, bro, like, post something else. And he had one more post in this clip. And he was like, damn, that dude almost disheartened him. But he was like, there's somebody who hasn't seen this or heard this fucking record. I'm going to post it again. Yeah. The very next day, that shit went mega viral. Like 4 million views in like 2 days. And now he has like 100 or something followers on TikTok. Like he, in every song he's playing, but it was that consistency and that belief in himself of just being like, yo, but I think the post that he did was he explained the purpose of the song. And like he talked about how like it was a relationship with him and this girl. And it was just such an honest explanation that by the time the song dropped, it was like, I love this. And it was just one of those things where like the shit just hit. And I'm just like, yo, it's just, but that was, it took him 30 tries to do that. You know what I'm saying? To figure out like this is the, and he didn't even know if that was going to work. And somebody told him, stop doing that. And he still did it anyway. Right. And so I leverage stuff like that as inspiration because like people going to hate on you or people going to tell you like what the formula is. There is no formula.
No,
there isn't one. And you know, if it's meant to be for you, then my biggest goal is to just be able to make a living off of doing what I like. I don't need to be rich. I don't want to have a Bentley. That shit, the insurance is crazy. I don't need all that. I just want to be able to have my daughter have a future where she could pick whatever she wants to do. Make sure my grandma's good. Put her in a house so she can, you know, spend the winter of her life in a good, calm place, and then just be chilling. And when I see something in the store, I want to buy it. I can buy it, and I have to budget. That's not it.
That's one thing I never realized until we started a podcast was how much people are actually doing really good, like actually just making a living doing what they're doing, right? Like the comedian, like he's almost there, right? So that's inspirational. And then even the TikTokers and stuff that we had on, like they ain't viral, or they're viral, but they're not like so famous that they can't walk in a grocery store or whatever. You know what I mean? But like they're making bread. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, yeah, people sleep on that space, that area, right? In the rap space it's definitely there, right? Like a lot of the underground rappers and stuff, that's what they're making. That's what they were doing before they became popping, right? Like Griselda or all them guys, right? Like they lived in that world. They were making perfectly fine money doing all their avenues or whatever, and then they happened to get big. And it's like people sleep on that, that level, that avenue.
Bro, even somebody like a Tech Nine, you've never heard a Tech Nine song on the radio. Bro, he has millions of dollars. He's chilling, bro, because he built a solid fan base, and he legitimately makes music that he wants to make, and he just has people that just fuck with him. You don't like my goal in life is to have legit 1,000 like actual fans, not people that like my shit, but like just like 1,000 people who are legitimate, like diehard. Whatever I put out, they'll follow. They'll tell me if it's shit, but they'll still be rocking with the next one. I ain't like that one that much, but the next one you put out, I'm gonna buy it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get 1,000 people to kind of galvanize behind you, and they will, you can sustain yourself, bro. Like, it's not hard, bro.
That's a good point. That's a good goal. That's a good metric. Like J. Cole made a lot of people realize that way back, right? Like now he's mega, right? But like that I got people, I got bodies, you know what I mean? Like you guys got likes or whatever, you know, and there's a difference with that, bro. But we're running out of time, man.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, I appreciate y'all for even having me on, man. Y'all gotta send me a shirt when them shirts is done. I'm gonna send you one of these.
We're gonna hit you for your information, bro. We want to send you. We got a hat and a shirt for you, bro. 100%, bro.
Got you. I got you. Y'all got y'all sizes, so I can get y'all some shirts.
Yes, sir, bro. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming, bro. Big fan. Check it out. Apparatus EP is out now. It's super fucking dope. Give him a follow. You. Great clips. Is great content, man. You won't be sorry.
All of his info in the description below, like always.
With the deep voice.
You guys good, man.
Yo, thank you, bro. See you, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Pocket, watch out.
Pocket, watch out.